Miss Mansfield, I know you won't think I'm rude if I say that a visit to you is rather like a visit to the Tower of London.
From sex with serious presidential figures to doing it well over 12 times a day. You may or may not believe it, but back in the good old Hollywood days, the scandals were even more outrageous than the ones in 2024. Here are the 10 craziest sex lives from Hollywood. Here's Lana Turner. I think we can all agree that Lana Turner has been involved with several people throughout her life, and if you think 8 marriages are normal, then who am I to judge? However, this is something people talk about when it comes to Turner, and sometimes it's not a good thing. Not to mention how she was also part of numerous extramarital affairs, both during and after her marriage to Frank Sinatra. For someone as beautiful and as talented as her, it's very uncharacteristic to get involved with a guy who is already happily married. But guess what? Turner did that and more. There were even reports saying that one of her boyfriends revealed very shocking details about the actress, and you will not believe what he just said. The Daily Mail revealed that they were able to collect a statement where an ex-partner mentioned how Turner's icy and seemingly uninterested face can be deceiving.
You really want to kiss me, don't you?
Why do I?
Tell me how much.
Because she is everything but uninterested when it comes to matters in bed. The former boyfriend also revealed how Turner was just interested in having sex with him as frequently as possible, and this led to staggering numbers, up to 12 times a day, and sometimes even rumored to be more. Louise Brooks. Next up, this talented actress and dancer is famous because of another thing. And nope, it's not related to her performance on stage. More specifically, it's her drive and passion when it comes to matters that unfold in bed. Born in 1906 in Cherryville, Kansas, Brooks's life was as diverse as the people she played in films. Because of her talent, her influence on cinema is still felt today. She is well known for her signature bobbed hairstyle and her parts in the shows Pandora's Box and Diary of a Lost Girl. Everyone knew that she was a free woman, and this extends to the people she slept with. Brooks acknowledged again and again that she was a liberated woman and was willing to explore both inside and outside of the bedroom, whatever that means. I'll leave that to your imagination. As a result, it was no surprise that she was involved with a couple of married men. There were also other concerns when it came to her sexuality, but Brooks never confirmed anything about this. But take note, she had her fair share of relationships with other women, so let that speak for itself. Elizabeth Taylor. Our next celebrity is known for being really spicy. Her 8 marriages captured the public's attention far more than her humanitarian work or performances. Indeed, she was able to convey such numbers in part because she began so early. Born on February 27, 1932 in Hampstead, London, Elizabeth Rosamond Taylor was the daughter of art dealer Francis Taylor and theatrical actress Sarah. By the time Taylor was 3 years old, her mother had decided to pursue a career in show business due to her exceptional beauty. At 9 years old, Taylor made her debut in the 1942 comedy There's One Born Every Minute. Her promise and striking violet-colored eyes caught MGM's attention, and they signed her for 1943's Lassie Come Home, and the rest was history. A protected, innocent existence on Bond Street, London, as well as a series of homeschooling experiences, had given her the belief that marriage and love were inextricably linked, and that whoever she married, she would adore. This subject resulted in numerous marriages and divorces. Her first marriage was to Conrad Hilton Jr. She divorced him at the age of 18 after discovering his more violent inclinations. She later married Michael Wilding and divorced him a year later. However, her addictions and excesses began to manifest themselves after her 3rd marriage. What followed was a series of weddings to men she had cheated on, creating a never-ending loop. Maran Davis. This next person on the list is one of the most iconic people during the era of silent cinema. However, she also left another mark aside from her talent. Spoiler alert, it's not something she should be proud of. It turns out Marion Davis had a very controversial life, and I think a lot of people already know what I'm referring to, but in case you are clueless about why, then buckle up. Born in Brooklyn, New York on January 3, 1897, she was Marion Cecilia Doris. Before she became Marion Davies, she was the youngest of Bernard and Rose Doris' 5 children, and from the get-go, Davis was ambitious. However, it was not until she saw her sister succeed in show business that she also started dreaming of being an actress. She worked as a model for well-known painters of the era after graduating from high school, and then started her journey on stage and made a name for herself as a gifted actor. Right after going back, her alleged association with newspaper magnate William Randolph Hearst and the infamous Charlie Chaplin remains one of the most mysterious and intriguing relationships in the industry. Word on the street reveals that she might have been dating both of them at the same time. Why? Well, Davis reportedly was not very satisfied with her performance and sought pleasure from another guy. Things got messy after Hearst started to get jealous, but no one knew if he was able to confront Chaplin. But one thing is for sure, Davis wanted more from her partner, and more she went to seek. Michael Douglas. Even if you don't know his name, you've probably seen some of his films. For starters, he participated in Wall Street, Basic Instinct, and Fatal Attraction. But these are only a few of the films in which Douglas delivered exceptional performances. He was also a producer, and took part in the production of a few classics in the industry, which include One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 1975, which brought him his first Academy Award. In addition, Douglas is well known for his parts in the Ant-Man movies, Basic Instinct, The War of the Roses, and Romancing the Stone. In addition to establishing him as a respectable actor, Douglas's performances have unintentionally put him in the public's perspective as a sex addict. The actor's two marriages, the second to 25-year-old Catherine Zeta-Jones, and the hypersexual characters he played in films like Basic Instinct and Fatal Attraction, all helped to perpetuate this perception. Even though the public's impression of Mike as a clean guy hasn't changed, he wouldn't be on this list based just on hearsay. Douglas reportedly entered himself into a sex addiction hospital for rehab during his first marriage to Deandra Luca, kicking off a trend that would spread throughout Hollywood. Frank Sinatra. You'll be surprised to find that this guy has slept with 3 people on this list. So if you were wondering whether or not he should be on this list, there you have it. But before he became a notorious charmer, he was a talented singer. Surprisingly, the iconic crooner never took formal music classes. Yet, over the course of his 50-year career, he became known by nicknames like The Voice and the Sultan of Swoon, leaving a lasting impression on American music. Despite his immense fame, he had dark moments in his life, such as troubled relationships, possible connections to organized crime, melancholy, and even a classified FBI file. He was also very well known when it came to his relationships and time inside the bedroom. Some even believe he was successful in capturing the renowned Monroe. There are also theories about Sinatra's ties with influential individuals, as well as his stormy romances, the latter of which stemmed from his overwhelming sex drive. There are allegations that Sinatra had an insatiable desire for sex, particularly in 3 dimensions. In fact, his former wife, Nancy Barbado, indicated that she knew where his heart was and was willing to tolerate his adultery. Everything changed abruptly when the well-known singer began lusting after Ava Gardner's skirts. It is safe to say they divorced shortly after. Marilyn Monroe. I bet most of you have heard her name somewhere. Monroe might be one of the biggest actresses of her era, which is why she deserves to be included in this list. But behind the glamour, Monroe was hiding something else. In fact, Monroe's case of addiction is not the typical kind, since she had to deal with something more serious than drugs or uncontrollable vices. Before she became the icon that she was, Monroe was Norma Jean Mortensen, who was born in Los Angeles in 1926. She was raised by Christian foster parents due to her mother's mental incapacity to raise a child. She then became a state ward and was placed in an orphanage after living with supposedly violent family friends. In 1944, Monroe left her job at a munitions factory to work as a model for a photographer, defying the wishes of her first husband, a 16-year-old factory worker who later joined the Marines. It might be one of the best choices she ever made. Going back, Monroe struggled with something emotional. It was revealed that Monroe's addiction was sexual, but not as a desire for sex. Experts explained that the actress was longing for intimacy, and the use of sex to take the place of that intimacy, as opposed to love and a strong, long-lasting relationship. As a result, Monroe had multiple relationships over the years, but was never able to build a family. Jane Mansfield. Jane Mansfield has had numerous jobs throughout her life, and I think we can all agree that she was a multi-passionate person. She was an actress, a model, a nightclub performer, and of course, a respected Playboy member. The list goes on. Although Mansfield was most recognized as a sex symbol in Hollywood at the time rather than an actor, in the 1950s and 1960s, Mansfield was a Hollywood bombshell who was renowned for her beauty, sense of style, and independence. At the height of her popularity, she met Mr. Universe winner Mickey Hargitay, a Hungarian, and the two were married in 1950. After that, Mickey rose to fame on his own and starred in films with Mansfield, such as Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter? Going back, the actress captured the attention of many with her voluptuous physique. In fact, she was placed on the same pedestal as Marilyn Monroe, Betty Grable, and Mae West, who pioneered the dumb blonde aesthetic that dominated Hollywood for many years. Just like any celebrity, the actress was addicted to a lot of different things. There's alcohol and narcotics, but she's also notorious for being addicted to sex. However, there are aspects of her past, such as experiences of childhood trauma, that weren't widely discussed. As a result, the unfortunate incident became a stepping stone that opened the doors to her addiction. She bravely speaks about her condition when asked, and narrates how she has struggled with the consequences of her actions. Fatty Roscoe Arbuckle. This next person might be one of the most controversial people we included. Also known as Fatty Arbuckle, he worked as a director and a silent film comedian, so I think you can say he was pretty passionate about a lot of things. However, aside from working in the industry, Fatty was also passionate about something else. Specifically, his connection with other people. And when I say connection, I mean physically. This led to a very scandalous life. At one point, he, together with friends, reportedly rented 3 hotel rooms for a night of partying. Sadly, a tragedy happened when an aspiring actress was found dead. Though evidence has proven that Fatty hadn't really touched the woman outside of casual contact, the papers revealed that Arbuckle had taken advantage of a lady with a Coca-Cola bottle in a violent attack. Yes, you heard that right. As media attention grew, Arbuckle was left with no choice but to apologize. And despite being acquitted, his career was affected by the case itself. He later sold all his riches to pay court fees and couldn't find meaningful work for the rest of his life. James Dean. For more than half a century, people have been asking whether or not the actor is queer. However, no one was able to confirm the truth behind his sexuality. But I think we can all agree that Dean is one of the many sex icons of his era. He was so iconic that, after 60 years since his tragic death, Hollywood is still looking for the next James Dean. But before he became the icon that he was, Dean started as a dreamer, and believe it or not, the young actor made only 3 films in his career. East of Eden in 1955, where he played the bad boy brother in the Cain and Abel retelling, Rebel Without a Cause in 1955, and Giant, where he stepped into the cowboy boots of a nonconformist ranch hand. All of his films became Hollywood classics, although he only saw one to completion. This was after he faced his tragic death on September 30th, 1955. He was only 24 years old when he crashed into another automobile while traveling down Route 466 in his Porsche 550 Spyder. The accident killed him almost instantly. While his life might have been a sad movie, Dean had a very successful career, and it was pretty hard to deny the impact he had on screen. Dean was the epitome of sexy cool, but off-camera. The 5'8", 135 lb star had some eccentricities and was dirty. Yes, you heard that right. Now, Dean reportedly didn't care much about his public appearance and went for the disheveled look. At one formal luncheon, he showed up barefoot and in filthy jeans, and he was known to show up at rehearsals in pants held together with safety pins. Friends also claimed that Dean tended to call or visit them late at night, saying that he was up 1 minute, down the next. On top of this, people used to talk a lot about his sexuality, and while he was not able to confirm whether the rumors were true, sources revealed that he liked getting intimate with his partners. At least that's one thing we can all agree about the late James Dean.